Good evening, everybody. It's your boy D Mac. Let's talk. So, I wanted to get on here this evening, man, and talk about boxing because we have some interesting things that's going on in boxing right now that we need to kind of highlight going into these next fights that's coming up. And so, I just wanted to talk about a few of these things. I had a guest. He's gonna be coming on pretty soon. Hopefully, get him up in here and we can chop it up about this boxing thing because there's a lot of little parts to dissect. So let me go ahead and get into it. But before I do, let me go ahead and give a shout out to everybody that I can think of. And if I don't get you this time, charge it to my head, not my heart. Um, First off, shout out to my boy Big J. Salute, go over there to Big J. Let's talk. We're on that same vein, giving some knowledge and bringing sports and information to you as accurate as possible. We don't like to get on here and do a whole lot of speculating and stuff like that, except when it comes to sports. Sports, there's going to be a lot of speculation and stuff like that. That's part of the fun of it. But as for the information portion, we're going to give it to you as clean cut as we can. So just put that out there. So shout out to Big J. Shout out to my boy Josh Croshan. Josh Croshan, he definitely dropping some knowledge over there. Y'all definitely go check out Josh, man, and he's bringing that he's spitting knowledge and he's spitting wisdom every single time. I appreciate him and shout out to you, my brother. Um, my boy Talk with T. Go check out my boy T on Talk with T, man, and he's definitely bringing the same thing. These are brothers just dropping knowledge from their perspective and covering different points of view and topics about life and everyday things that we go through. So definitely check out Talk with T. Um, who else can I think of? That's pretty much it for right now. All of my people who come in. Self Awareness TV, Truth Lady, um, who else? Who else? Anybody, man. I'm just appreciating you being here. So let me get into it after doing all of that. Um, Gervonta Davis, Tank. I love Tank, man. I love this kid's um, his boxing mentality. He has the Mamba mentality of boxing. That's what I would compare it to, because when he's in the ring, you it's not the same person that you see outside the ring. Outside the ring, you see him pretty chill, pretty laid back. When that guy's in the ring, he knows how to turn it up a notch. He knows when to slow it down. He does some great things in that ring. The only thing about him I don't like, he takes a few too many punches. But that's how it is going to be sometimes with the style that he has. The slip and move punch style that Mayweather teaches. Um, if you're not Mayweather, you're going to take some shots as Adrian Broner. So, but other than that, Gervonta Davis, man, he's definitely, in my book, the best right now as far as the lightweights or the light welterweight, because he can fight in pretty much three different classes. He can fight in light welterweight, he can fight in lightweight, he can go down to super featherweight if he wants to. So it's so many different areas that this kid can fight in. He's always gonna stay busy. He's always gonna be competitive, and he's fighting top notch fighters. You got, let's see, Teofimo Lopez. He already beat him. Vasil Lomachenko. Is that how you say Lomachenko? Yeah. Yeah, him, he's doing his thing. I haven't really seen him fight too much, so I'm gonna have to check out Lomachenko. I've heard his name a few times, and everybody's speaking highly of him, so I'm gonna have to check him out. But Ryan Garcia, he's definitely wanting a piece of Tank. He keep saying that he won't Tank. I don't know, man. Ryan Garcia is nice. The kid is very nice. He reminds me of a young Oscar De La Hoya, really. But ready for Gervonta Davis, I don't think he is. He needs a few more competitive fights under his belt before he fights the Gervonta Davis, because he haven't been tested yet. That chin haven't really been checked yet on Ryan Garcia. So we have to see what he gonna do when that chin get checked, because you know Gervonta Davis catch him on that chin, it's only a matter of time. So Ryan Garcia, hey, maybe another year, about 3 or 4 more fights, you might be ready for Gervonta, and you might want to beef up a little bit too. But Devin Haney, man, I just seen Devin Haney on a he was on a boat with P Diddy. Well, no, he was at the pool party with P Diddy, and it's like you're not in unless you're invited to P Diddy's pool party. But whatever. Devin Haney, he's definitely a bright spot. He reminds me a lot of Errol Spence Jr. Actually, that's who Devin Haney reminds me of as far as his patience. Now Errol, he's a little bit too patient, man. Whenever he fight Pacquiao, he ain't gonna be able to do that. What's going on, Big J, man? Good to see you in here, my brother. But yeah, whenever Errol Spence Jr. fight Pacquiao, he's not going to be able to do that just sitting back and relaxing style. He's going to have to pick up the pace. He's going to have to come out those first 2 rounds and really let Pacquiao know that he's there. Because if he don't, Pacquiao is going to start to set his rhythm. And when Pacquiao sets his rhythm, that's when things start to go bad for the opponent. Now, see, Pacquiao, if you keep Pacquiao off balance and not let him set up and have him always fighting, going back or going to the side to where he's not able to get full power in his punches and stuff like that, that's what you're going to have to do in order to just even go the entirety of the fight with a Pacquiao. But Errol Spence Jr., that's sitting back and being patient, sometimes that's not a virtue for you. So that's going to be another interesting one. But back to what I was saying, Devin Haney reminds me of Errol Spence Jr. a little bit, but he needs to let his hands go some more, because the way that boxing is going now, it's all about throwing them hands, getting them the speed, the power, and the accuracy. That's the most important thing, the accuracy, because you can throw all the punches in the world, but if they're not effective, then you just wasting energy. You said, is Tyron and Jake real or fake? I think it is fake. Not fake in the sense that, you know, they're gonna throw the fight or whatever, but it's fake in the sense of it's just a money grab for Woodley. Everybody knows that these guys from the UFC, they're not getting big checks. And so when they take these types of fights, they got it from Conor McGregor whenever he fought Mayweather and got that big purse. And after that, that set a precedent for the rest of those guys and got them to start thinking, we might have to go outside of the UFC and make some of that money that they're getting. And so they're giving these guys an opportunity to make a real paycheck, which I commend them, the Paul brothers, for that. But at the same time, you know, the way that they pick their opponent is what bothers me, because, you know, people on the outside looking in don't really see what I see. And as a boxer, I see they're picking their opponents based on their opponent's disadvantages and their advantages. They're weighing the analytics of their fight. They're weighing the analytics of what their chances are versus this person based on what they have a tendency to do. This is what the Paul brothers do. That's why Logan Paul fought Mayweather. And I said this before. He fought Mayweather because Mayweather's only 155 pounds at his heaviest. And Jake Paul goes around at almost 200 pounds. So Mayweather in his later years was never known for being a knockout artist. He did TKO Conor, but, you know, so, but yeah, Mayweather, he definitely picked Mayweather because he knew that Mayweather wasn't going to knock him out. He was going to have the opportunity to go the full distance and call that a victory because he went the full distance with Mayweather. And that's exactly what he did. It was a money grab for both of them. And now these other guys are following suit. So Tyron Woodley and Jake, they're going to fight for real, but it's a money grab. So, and I'm sure these guys appreciate getting that type of pay. Maybe this is going to get Dana White to think about upping these guys' pay, because the way he does their pay scale, you're in a 4-year contract. And if you say your set salary is 30,000 for that 4 years, that's just for the 4 years. You're going to get 30,000 per fight or whatever. Now, say you knock out the champ and you become the champ, and you're still filling this house and filling the seats because you're that dude, you're still gonna get that $30,000 cap. Even though you're bringing in these millions, you're not gonna get anything higher than that 30,000 because it's in your contract until that 4-year contract is up, and then you get the option to bargain and stuff like that. And so Dana White is having to think now, because a lot of these guys are going outside of the UFC, and pretty soon he's not going to have his original fighters. He's not going to have his top fighters. They're going to start seeking that purse elsewhere. You got Anderson Silva, who left the UFC, and now he in talks with fighting Logan Paul. There, once again, Logan Paul choosing his opponent carefully, because Anderson Silva, this will be his third or fourth boxing match, I believe. He's won 2, lost 1. I think he lost his first fight, and then he won the last 2. And so this will be his 4th fight. And so Anderson Silva's coming in. He's an amateur in boxing. Logan Paul has a few years on him in boxing experience and ring experience as far as boxing goes. But he may underestimate Anderson Silva and find himself in some type of trouble. But that's if the fight materializes. Now, if Logan Paul was really a fighter, if he was really serious about fighting, he would fight somebody at his size that is an actual champ, an actual fighter. Why don't he fight Roy Jones Jr.? That's around his weight class, right? Roy's around the 180, 190 mark. He can go up to 200 if you want to. Well, I don't know if he'll get back down to 180 or 190 right now at his age, but he looked decent during the Mike Tyson fight, and I'm pretty sure if he was getting a big enough bag, Roy would go back in the gym and get in shape for another fight. So I don't know. That would be a better draw than Anderson Silva. I would love to see Roy Jones Jr. fight Logan Paul. But would Logan Paul be willing to fight Roy Jones Jr. is the question. And I don't think Logan Paul wants to fight Roy Jones Jr. because Roy Jones Jr. can still knock you out. And he was definitely one of those guys who could put that knockout punch on you with one punch. Flash punch. We saw him do it for years. We was just entertained and marveled by it for years. So we know what Roy can do, and Logan knows what Roy can do too. That's why he wants somebody who's not as experienced in boxing, because like I said, guys coming in from UFC into boxing, it's not as simple as it looks. It's not a simple transition, because your stances is going to change. A lot of your tendencies to grab and grapple, well, you still can grab and stuff like that, but not as much. They're going to break that up immediately. But as far as kicks and all of those tendencies, you're going to have to retrain yourself and retrain your mind. And so it's not a real easy transition from UFC to boxing. And so he knows that, and he knows Anderson Silva, while he's done good so far, he haven't really fought anybody. He fought Cesar Chavez Jr., who's way retired. And he had a victory in that fight, but Logan knows what he's doing. He's choosing his opponents wisely. He will not step up to somebody who he knows has the power and the ability to knock him out like a boxer truly can. So, but yet and still, they're bringing money to these guys that they didn't get in the UFC. So I can't really be all the way mad at them, because they're putting food in these people's houses. You know what I'm saying? They're giving them the opportunity to have a little bit more leeway and room to do what they do, because they don't have health benefits outside of the ring. You know, those UFC guys don't. So, yeah, he's giving them an opportunity to be stable. So I can't be too mad at him, but I see what he's doing. Just to let you know that I see what you're doing, Logan. But going back to Terrence Crawford, Bud Crawford. He's the quiet assassin, man. I kind of like him too, man. He reminds me of what was my man name from back in the day? Sweet Pea Whitaker, Pernell Whitaker. That's who Bud Crawford reminds me a lot of. Just the way he's built up. He's long, slender, and he just fire those bombs in there. But you know, he chokes back a little bit. Hey, Amina, how you doing? Thank you for coming through. And yeah, he chokes back a little bit, man. But Bud Crawford is definitely somebody that I would like to see Gervonta Davis take a crack at some point. Now I know Terrence Crawford, he's been wanting Pacquiao, but Errol Spence got to get Pacquiao first, and then we'll see how that goes, and we'll see if he'll get what he wants. But in the meantime, after Gervonta Davis fights this next guy, who's he fighting next? I can't even think of the dude he's fighting next, but he still got Alberto Puello, who's the interim champ in the light welterweight division, so he can go to the light welterweight and pick up that if he wants to while he waiting around. But he still got Terrence Crawford, he still got Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. So it's a whole lot of activity going on in that little lightweight and welterweight, super featherweight area. And in the heavyweight division, we really don't have a lot going. So it's kind of quiet. It's kind of dead because Joshua, he's been quiet. He's never been known for his personality anyway. But you know, Tyson Fury, he was kind of exciting, but at the same time, he's got all of this controversy surrounding him because the fight was supposed to go on, I believe, pretty soon here, but he postponed the fight talking about some COVID or whatever. But then they had found a picture of him at a car dealership buying a Rolls Royce with no mask on, no quarantine, no nothing, outside just chilling. You know what I'm saying? So who does that if they're on COVID protocol? Nah, bro, we ain't playing those types of games. Those are the things right there that's getting boxing a low rating right now. When you have heavyweights that's doing stuff like that, we want to see you fight Wilder again. You said, why so many old fighters? D is the sport that lost. It is. It is, but it's not because like with these guys, the younger guys, they are coming up. They're doing their thing, but it's not getting that recognition because UFC is taking a whole lot of fanfare away from boxing. And so when boxing used to be that main fighting spotlight, it no longer has a monopoly on that division anymore because now it has to share with the UFC and all of these other mixed martial arts that are coming out. And so, but boxing still has its the older fighters. They're pretty much commentators now. A lot of them are commentators. You see Roy, he's over there commentating. You see George, he's over there commentating. Yeah, these guys are getting older. Who is it about to fight? Oscar De La Hoya is about to fight again. Yeah, they were talking to him. I forgot who he was about to fight again, but he's about to get back in the ring and fight somebody. So a lot of these older guys, they feeling rejuvenated by what they're seeing with this celebrity boxing. That's what's doing it, what's putting a spark in a lot of these older guys because now they can come back through that vein and they can really get their shine on with these little exhibition matches. You see how Mike Tyson and Roy Jones did. They came and did that exhibition match, and that was a pretty big draw for both of them. They don't want to admit it, but they made a nice little piece of change off of that. And a lot of these older fighters, some of them not sitting well financially, so they might need a nice little payday like that. I'm just speculating on that. I ain't counting these dudes' money, but that's how, you know, situations are opening up for these guys who normally wouldn't have an opportunity to get back in to the boxing ring. And so, hey, what's happening, Bam? Hey, you said you respect it, but not to pay. Yeah, that's it, man. And UFC, That's why I said it's good that the Jake Paul and his brothers doing what they doing, because they gonna force Dana White to have to come up off some money. And that's the good thing that I like about it. That's why I can't be too hard on them. I can't stand there the way that they do certain stuff and the way that they troll, that 6ix9ine trolling crap. But I respect the fact that they putting money in these dudes' pockets. So yeah, on that, man, I'm gonna go back to Errol Spence and Pacquiao while we're talking about older fighters, because Pacquiao is getting up there. Pacquiao is he's a politician. This dude has been a politician for some years. Matter of fact, whenever he fought Mayweather, that's why whenever they did their face off, he leaned over and he said, "Thank you." Because during that time they had a big tsunami in the Philippines and they had a whole lot of damage. And so by Mayweather doing that fight, he was able to generate enough money to help his country, the Philippines, get back on their feet and stuff. And so, yeah, that behind the scenes stuff that people really didn't want to know, because Floyd got to keep his reputation intact as being a bad boy, and Pacquiao's gonna always be that nice guy. So it worked out good for him, man. And you think Errol gonna stop Pac-Man? I think, like I said before, if he keeps Pacquiao off balance and keep Pacquiao backing up, then he can do it. But if he let Pacquiao come forward, nah, it ain't gonna happen. That's the main thing you got to do with Pacquiao, is keep him off balance. Keep him off balance, because if you let him set up, he gonna work your body and he gonna get them arms to go down. And once he do that, it's headbanger boogie from there on. So yeah, man. You said boxing become boring. It depends on what you're looking for, because in certain divisions, certain weight classes, yeah, it is kind of boring. Like I said, it has its bright spots. It has like I said, the welterweights, there's a whole lot of activity going on around in that area, and the light heavyweights and stuff like that. And when Wilder and old boy get his stuff together, you said Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes is she's the Mike Tyson of women's MMA. That girl is a beast, and she has that same mentality where she comes in to destroy. She don't come in to play around. She don't come in to try to work on some of her moves on you. No, she's trying to take you out there ASAP, and that's exactly what I admire about her. She's always got that mentality to take them out quick, and that's the way I was taught. You don't want to be in there as long as you have to be. And that's definitely not where I want to be. So, yeah, I respect Amanda Nunes, because the way she destroyed, what's her name? The one Holly Holm kicked in the face. Oh, girl. Ronda Rousey. I mean, I thought Ronda Rousey was at least going to go to the second or third, maybe. The spanking that she put on Ronda Rousey was decisive. It was no holds barred. She was like, "I'm not scared of your power. I ain't scared of none of the hype they'll put up on you. We already seen that you are you're capable of being beat." And she went for blood, and that's exactly what she got. Ronda didn't have one chance. She hit her once in the beginning of that fight. She caught her with one clean shot, and that was it. After that, no, Ronda did get a knee in. She kneed her in the face. And I think that's what made Amanda mad. When she did that, oh, bro, it was over. It was all Amanda from there, straight hands, and she just destroyed her. And I was like, yeah, this girl is really the truth. And ever since then, she's just been racking them up. And yeah, so she's exciting. Clarissa Shields, don't forget, Clarissa Shields, she's moved over to the UFC as well. And so she's working on her stuff. She fought her first fight, and it was okay for her first fight. started off kind of slow, which you're gonna expect because, like you say, she nerves and you got to get over all of that stuff for your first fight. But once she really got into it, yeah, definitely the growth. And but once she got into it and she actually got down on the floor, that's when I thought she was actually gonna be in trouble. But she pretty much beat her up from the floor, and I was like, okay, okay. So she has a little bit of understanding of how UFC goes now. So I think if she gets stronger, she gets better, she keep on working, then her and Amanda Nunes, I say maybe in a year, about a year, I would like to see her and Amanda Nunes. That would definitely be a ticket seller, big time. Big time. I know I would definitely buy it. And shoot, they have undercards because you know the undercards a lot of the times that's where the best fights be. Whenever I buy fights, I buy it and I pay attention to who's on the undercard as well because a lot of those fights is where you're gonna get your money back from. Um, I go back to I believe was it Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti. The first fight was an undercard fight, and bruh, when I said that was more than the fight of the night, that was the fight of the century. That was absolutely the fight of the century. And then so was the second and the third as well. That trilogy right there go down in boxing history. And anybody who's watched Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward, any one of those fights, 1, 2, or 3, you not there's not any part of that fight where you're gonna be like just sitting back, not having any action. And they wasn't doing it in a malicious way. That's what made it so great. They did not do it in a malicious way, man. They did it in a way that was respect from warrior to warrior. Arturo Gatti has always been a warrior. We all seen it. All us older dudes that's in my age bracket, some of y'all younger dudes too. If you follow boxing, if you're a real boxing fan, you know that Arturo Gatti was always a brawler. He would try to start out setting up shots and try to box a little bit, but it would always come down to a brawl with Arturo Gatti. And Mickey Ward, his all the way up to that point right there, his his record was kind of shabby, and he was having a whole lot of difficulties on the outside with his brother because his older brother also boxed. I don't know if y'all know this story, but Mickey Ward, older brother, he was a really good fighter back in the day as well, and he got strung out on drugs. And so, you know, a lot of time he's the one who got Mickey into fighting. And so a lot of times Mickey was spending his time when he's supposed to be training, going somewhere to try to find his brother because he done got in some trouble or he done this or that. And so that kind of sidelined his career for a while. But when he finally got back into boxing and really got a shot, and he fought Arturo Gatti, Mickey Ward sealed himself in history from that point forward. And I commend that dude. Shout out to you, my brother. I definitely love that whole little trilogy right there. There's not many that can top it in boxing. Yeah, you said I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, man. Whenever I talk about boxing, I get hyped, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I boxed for a few years, man, me and my brothers. And so that definitely gave me appreciation for the art because it teaches you anger management. You have to learn how to hold your anger. You have to learn how to harness that anger and use it in a focused manner towards your goal. And so that's what it taught me. It taught me how to chill. It taught me how to keep my mind focused whenever I'm in a tight situation, things like that. Boxing was a great thing for me in my life. So yeah, I get hyped when I talk about boxing, brother. You said, why do you say you know who you are? Why do you say you know who you are, but hide it still? The days are short, brother. What's up, Freestyle 88? How you doing today? I do not hide who I am. I just save that topic for different segments. Whenever I have certain segments, I definitely want to stay on the topic of what my title was. And so what you're talking about, I definitely do know. And I'm going to do a segment on that. I'll put it up early so that you'll know ahead of time and you'll be able to tune in for that one. I appreciate you for coming in, sis. I really do. But yeah, so let me go back to this. We have Lomachenko, we have Ryan Garcia, we have all of these guys who can definitely fight. Boxing has a whole lot to offer right now, and UFC really don't have a lot to offer right now. That's the problem that Dana White is facing, and that's why I say he's gonna have to get them dudes some money, because if he don't, they're gonna bail on him. They're already bailing on him. You know, the Diaz brothers have been talking junk for years about Dana White. They be ready to fight that dude. You know, but the Diaz brothers be ready to fight everybody. So that ain't nothing new. But you know, that's just to say that Dana White has a big decision to make, because I believe Jake Paul was trolling him and he was saying, "Yeah, you over here buying a million, $500,000 cars, but your fighters are over here trying to fight me just so they can get a decent pay." You know what I'm saying? And that kind of brought some heat on Dana White, and so now he gonna have to pay up. He been holding all of that money, hoarding all of that money with these bogus contracts for years, and these guys are done with it. That's why I say they need a union. You said Ryan Garcia needs a great fight, not a yeah. Ryan Garcia wants to fight. He wants to fight Tank, but he's not ready for Tank. Like I was saying, Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, that would be a good one. Ryan Garcia, Terrence Crawford would be a great one. I think that would be a more interesting fight right there, right now. If Ryan Garcia can get past Devin Haney or Terrence Crawford, then I think he deserves a fight with Tank Davis. But other than that, him just going straight to Tank right now, nah, he's not ready for it. The kid is good. He's definitely an up and coming star, but he's not ready for Tank. That's going to destroy his whole confidence if he fight Tank. You see the way Tank knocked out the last guy, Santa Cruz. That was ugly. And the one before that, I believe it was Teofimo Lopez. Was that who he fought before that? I know, man, his last two knockouts have been crucial and ugly. But Ryan Garcia is not ready for that guy. I think Ryan Garcia and Terrence Crawford would be a good fight, or Devin Haney. Definitely Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia would be an interesting fight. So, like I said, there's a lot going on in that division, man. So that's where the excitement is. So that's where you got to look in boxing in certain divisions, because not every division has that much excitement in it. Like I said, the cruiserweight division, the light heavyweight division, they've been real quiet. There's not really a lot coming out of there. And you know what the heavyweight situation is. We have Tyson Fury, who's kind of bogus right now, and then we have Wilder on the other side, who's bogus as well. So it's choosing the better of the two. I don't know, man. My thing with Wilder is this. That last fight, whenever he came out and he lost, I could accept him losing the fight. I couldn't accept the way that he handled it. That's what I couldn't accept. The way that he handled that loss was not a champion's way to handle it. The way that he's handling it now is not a champion's way of handling it. Tyson Fury really, really psychologically destroyed that dude. He's never been dominated like that before. He's been rocked a few times. We've seen Wilder get rocked a few times, but he's never been dominated like that before. And that really, really did something to his ego, because a lot of his ego is tied up in that title. And so now he comes out with the story, oh, well, when I came out the ring, I was wearing this suit and it was 40 pounds. So it did this to my legs. And nah, bro, that's not what a champion does. You say, hey, it wasn't my night. He got the better of me. We'll run it back. That's all you gotta say, bro. You ain't gotta do all of that explaining. You don't have to do all of that extra dramatic stuff. But you know, that's the way some people handle things. I understand it's an emotional thing, especially whenever you're a competitive person like Wilder is. So I understand that. But we definitely have to get some more excitement in the heavyweight division, because Joshua, he's gonna come over here. He's gonna fight a few times. Andy Ruiz is still out there, and he still got some power, and he can still do some things and make some exciting fights. But we need some young guys coming up in the heavyweight, in the lightweight, cruiserweight divisions. That's exactly what we need right now in boxing, and that would kind of even things out. But we can flip back and forth. We have the celebrity fights, and I saw a little bit of that the Blueface fight, and that was, I mean, it's a total mismatch. First off, that was about like the Lamar Odom and Aaron Carter fight. Absolute mismatch. He had about at least 10-inch reach advantage on this dude that he was fighting. He was taking a whole lot of punches. If the kid had any type of form or any type of real boxing experience, he would have definitely put Blueface on his butt a couple of times. But because he didn't have any, Blueface came out and he pretty much won by accumulation of punches. He didn't even knock the dude out. So that was uh, uh, I think it was a publicity thing for Blueface, because right after the fight, he got into another fight with this kid who came in the ring and tried to jump on him. Supposedly, I think it was all set up, and pretty soon he gonna be coming out with some new music. Watch, he gonna drop a new album on you and all of that, or he got some new songs already coming out. These are the things that they use this for. They're using this vein to get into boxing, and they're able to generate some money off of it. But they're also giving other guys an opportunity to make some money. So it kind of balances out. But that's it, man. I mean, 20 years ago, neither one of them would have been mentioned. Who wouldn't have been mentioned? Who? Wilder and Fury, or Joshua and the other guy, what's his name? Ruiz. Because back then, the heavyweight division was always the loaded division. You had so many heavyweights. You had Mike, you had Lennox, you had Holyfield, you had who else? Foreman, you had Michael Moore was the champ for a while. You had Tony, what was his name? The one that looked like a little pit bull. Man, I can't think of his last name right now, but it'll come to me, man. But we was loaded down with heavyweights that could drop you at any moment, And we know that's the exciting thing about the heavyweight division, because anybody at any given moment at about 240 plus pounds, if they catch you with a good shot, you see what Hakeem Rockman did to Lennox Lewis. He caught him with that good shot, put his lights out, took his belts. But then Lennox came back and regrouped and didn't get caught slipping like that no more, and he rocked Rockman. And after that, we didn't hear no more about Rockman. He put him to bed. But the thing that I never respected about Lennox Lewis was the fact that he ducked Tyson long enough for Tyson to get kind of over the hill before he fought him. He wouldn't fight Mike in his prime, and that's one thing that I never respected about Lennox Lewis. He waited until Mike had some tragedy go in his life. He had already went to prison, I think, and came back, and he was on his comeback or whatever whenever Lennox Lewis fought Mike Tyson, and he wasn't the same Mike Tyson. Everybody knows he wasn't. He still had the dangerous one-punch power, but he wasn't the same ferocious, vicious Mike Tyson. The world had taken a lot out of Mike at that point, and Lennox Lewis seized that opportunity to beat Mike Tyson, and I really don't respect him for that. If he would have fought Mike in Mike's prime, then yeah, I would have definitely had a whole lot more respect for Lennox Lewis. Other than that, he was a good champion. But we had so many more. Like you said, you had Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield can come back and fight right now if he wants to. I hope everybody know that. Evander Holyfield is still in absolutely great. He's like Terrell Owens. That dude will never not be in shape. That's just his lifestyle. A lot of dudes just do it for their sport, and then after their sport, you see them blow up. But dudes like that, that's their lifestyle. Terrell Owens can come on somebody pro team right now and show some people up and really they're gonna make some numbers. So yeah, those guys like that, they can come back and do some things. But you know, those older guys, man, they had more um they had more determination and they had more hunger because they wasn't getting those big paydays like these dudes are now. Mike Tyson is the one who set the precedence on those big paydays like that. He's the one who started those 30-40 million dollar fights. They wasn't getting that before Mike Tyson at all. And you know what I'm saying? Mike said that to everybody. Even Sugar Ray Leonard to tell you that. Him and Marvin Hagler, the wars that they had, the epic battles that they had, they made a fraction of what these young dudes are making now. Adrian Broner, that's why Adrian Broner is so big headed, because he can go in there and generate a fight for about 25 million real quick, and that'll fill his bank back up. But see, now he's backed himself into a corner to where he's deteriorating and he's not able to generate like he used to. And so he's spending way more than he's able to earn. And so he's in trouble. This dude, I saw him in court begging the judge, telling out the judge he don't have this and he don't have that, but yet and still he'll get on the internet and start. Never mind on that. But yeah, that young man really needs to get himself in check, man, so he can really make a comeback if that's what he want to do. But I don't see it in his future. He's trying to come back and maybe get one of these fights, one of these celebrity fights, and get a quick purse. That might be the best thing for him, the safest thing for him. Because if he come back in here with these pros, they're gonna really hurt him and embarrass him, and he's really gonna be done. So we'll keep an eye out on these guys, man. I appreciate everybody for coming through, man. I definitely love you guys. And you know what I always say? What you say? Say salute D-Mac. Awesome show. Until your next live. Oh, absolutely, my brother. I appreciate you coming through. Who's that? Everybody that came through tonight. If I can't think of your name right now, charge it to my head, not my heart. You know what I always say? Sticks and stones can break your bones, but the word can always heal you. I'm out.